Hey guys, what is going on? My name is Eric Farewell, and this video has been a long time coming. We have had hundreds of comments, messages, emails, phone calls, text messages, and every other form of contact you guys might be able to imagine about the topic of this video, and I felt like it was finally time to take some time and share with you a lot of the reasons and the backstory for the whys, the hows, the whats, and what it will look like moving forward. Honestly, a lot of this stuff we couldn't talk about until now because we didn't have a firm answer from the supplier. But let me go back in time and explain why we haven't had an earlier release video about this subject. As many of you guys know, there are a lot of people in this industry who spend a lot of time just talking smack and trying to say that their stuff's the best and that everyone else is terrible and blah, blah, blah. And we've never been that way. It's always been our goal to be professional and gracious and to build up the sport and build up individuals in the community and not to take the time to badmouth anybody. So we didn't want to create a video that made it look like we were being negative. We want to make sure that we were always sharing positivity, sharing our passion for flight, and that was the #1 priority. So let me take you guys back in time about 3.5 years ago when we signed up with Eric DeFore and Air Conception. At the time, Air Conception had been around for about 6 or 7 years. They had the 130 motor that was becoming more and more reliable. It was super light. I mean, they encapsulated this idea of light is right. Get the thing as light as possible. Make it, sometimes even sparing creature comforts, using square buckles, little things like that. Laurent was this just vicious, light-minded individual, and he really wanted things to be as light as humanly possible. So we stepped into that with this idea that, listen, we're going to come in, we're going to start selling this lightweight motor, and they had this new motor that they've been working on at Technofly called the Nitro, or the Octagon, and it had promise. It was a 200cc series motor, 190cc motor, that was putting out nearly as much power as the Moster, that was stupidly light. It was the same weight as their 130. And now we were terrified when we first got it. We thought, what if this thing breaks? What if this thing is a bad experience for the customer? Because for us, our whole entire focus has always been customers first. This is actually, we've switched brands 4 times in 7 years because our goal is always to have the best possible experience for the customer. And so when we got the Nitros in stock, you guys may remember those videos, we waited 100 hours before we even sold the first one. We flew 100 hours of flight time, running on a test stand, flying it, making sure the thing didn't just blow up 40 minutes into it, and it didn't. The way the engine was designed was made to be light, but it was made to run cool. And so we had very few overheating issues, which at the time was the biggest issue on the market. Everyone's motors were overheating, and this one didn't. After that, we've always done our best to always share with you guys the highs and the lows. We don't want to make it look like we're just like, hey, everything's perfect. We talked about it on our 100-hour review, our 1-year review, and our 2-year review. The good, the bad, the ugly, the things that were working well, the things that we'd had issues with, the bell housing or the whatever you call it, the upper pulley blowing apart, the crankcase issues, which all of the first 200 or so motors had bad crankcases that we've been doing replacement parts for ages, and that Technofly engineered a beautiful solution to fix. But we've always tried to be really, really open with you guys and to share exactly what we believe about things, because we feel like we owe it to you, the consumer, our fellow patriots, our fellow aviators and pilots, all about why we do what we do. So we wanted to take the time today to kind of walk you guys through the timeline and walk you through some of our struggles and some of our decision making for going to a different brand. But I want to make it extremely clear, this is not in any way, shape, or form any sort of a dig toward any other manufacturer. Just because we're no longer selling Air Conception does not mean that Air Conceptions are bad. They all are the same. Paramotors are high-strung, high-power, lightweight units, and they all have significant challenges in making sure that they had the longevity, etc. For us, the Air Conception was a game changer. We went from one of the heaviest paramotor brands on the market, where we had 1 in 3, 1 in 4 students break props, break gear during their training, to the Air Conception, we went to 7 months with no broken equipment because it was so light. People were able to get that balance much sooner, much faster, and it was amazing for us. And then as we've grown and as we built more schools and we've done more and more things, our biggest challenge with Air Conception became supply. Quite frankly, again, as we've talked about, it's so important for us that we want to have a great customer experience. We want to have students be able to go home and start flying right away using their skills. And as the success of our company grew and the success of Air Conception grew, they couldn't keep up with our demand. We had students waiting 12, 16 weeks for Nitros. We had a student wait for 11 months for his Tornado. And we would always double whatever the times were that they told us. They say, oh, it'll be there in 4 weeks. We'd say 8, just because we want to under promise and over deliver every time. And it got to the point where it's like, listen, this is not working. We've got so many customers who are hurt, they're upset, they feel taken advantage of because they had this expected timeline and it's so much longer. So we made a decision back in September and October to add a new product line. And initially the plan was just to add the trikes, because as many of you guys know, this sport's incredible, and it really can be for just about anyone. But the physical limitations of foot launching are really hard on folks, especially as they get in their 50s and 60s and 70s. Their knees are replaced like my dad's. Their backs are broken like mine. It really can be a physical challenge. So we wanted to add a phenomenal trike lineup that would be able to offer us the level of professionalism that we always seek to serve, great engineering, and someone that would have a real servant's heart toward any sort of customer service issue. So we partnered with Fly Products. We'd known Manu now for several years. Manu Tejero is one of our pilots for Paradigm, and he has been talking to us for several years about the fact that we need to be selling Fly Products. So we met with them at Coupe-Car. We had a great time with them, and we had this realization that it would make sense. It would make a lot of sense. It would take a lot of the pressure off of Air Conception not to have to produce so many units, not to have this massive backlog. So we said, listen, we're going to add the trike lineup and the foot launch lineup just so we can help to augment our customer base. We had no plans on leaving Air Conception at the time. We were still frustrated by some of the things that were happening with the company, but we still like the products. We still like the products. So we let Air Conception know, and they didn't like that. I'm not going to get into details. There's no mudslinging here, but their expectation from us was that we would be exclusive, and we never had a contract that stipulated that. So we said, listen, we totally understand that you have the expectation we're going to be exclusive, but we've already made this relationship with Fly Products, and we're not going to damage that relationship because it's too important to us to honor our word. So they had to basically acquiesce, and we stepped down as the only importer for Air Conception. Now, within that, lots of other new importers have come in with Air Conception. I'm sure there are going to be some great ones that will serve their new customers very well. We also added Parajet and their Maverick and their Zenith and their V3, their Falco, their new flying car coming out. We added these products because they were products that we wanted to add for years. And when we decided that we're not going to be exclusive with Air Conception, we wanted to add products that we believed in and that we believed in for a long time. In fact, Travis and I had said many times that the Maverick was so pretty we couldn't believe we sold a Nitro. It's such a beautifully designed unit, and they've really put so much effort toward the aesthetics and the individual pieces of manufacturing. So after we announced our relationship with Parajet, Air Conception said, listen, no more. You guys aren't selling Air Conception anymore. You're not training Air Conception anymore. And we're not going to sell them to you. And we said, okay, totally fine. We respect that. That's your choice. We chose not to sell them or promote them as much. We've chosen to not use them in our school anymore. Our students were falling in love with the Mavs and the Fly Products riders. And so we totally got it, and we totally accept that. But it's really important to us that our customers, those of you who bought a Nitro, who bought a Tornado, you need to understand that Aviator's going nowhere. We are here to serve you still. And this past weekend at Palm Bay Flying, I got to have a great conversation with Laurent Fougeot, who's the owner of Air Conception, and he agreed to continue selling us parts because we planned always to maintain a stock of the supplies and parts to make sure that we can serve our customers. Because if you bought a motor from us, it's so crucial that if you have a warranty issue, you can call me, you can call Mary, you can call Alex, and you can get an answer right away and parts in the mail the next day. That's always been something that we've done here that has worked well for us, is we've had a massive inventory in parts. Travis and I reinvested every penny we could back into our parts room so that you guys wouldn't have downtime. Because there's nothing worse than going on a paramotor vacation and realizing you can't fly. So we have this massive inventory of parts. We have permission from Air Conception to purchase more parts in the future. We'll continue to serve you all the way through your warranty, and that's something we would always do. No matter what you buy from us, Aviator will stand behind you and serve you above and beyond what the manufacturer will. It's our heart, it's our soul, and it's super important to us. So all that to say, we are excited about our new products. We really, truly are. We're going to have a whole bunch of videos soon about the Fly Products and the Parajet line. We've been flying them now for about 3 months. We've been very impressed by them. We've been really impressed even more so just by the level of attention to their customers' happiness. The amount of time they put into making sure that everything is done properly. We had a guy buy a Parajet Maverick from us recently, and he got the package in the mail, and there was one little line on the net cut while it was still in the bag. And he sent us a picture, and immediately Mary contacts Parajet, says, hey, listen, we pulled one of ours out of stock. We're going to ship it to him right away, but just so you know, this is what happened. 3 days later, we got a brand new net in the mail from England. an email was copied within 3 or 4 hours that went not just to us to say, hey, we're so sorry for the trouble from Parajet, but it also went to the design and development team, where they said, listen, log this because we had an issue and we want to make sure we correct it for the future. And that's the kind of professionalism and stuff that we've been looking for and that we're so thankful to have now. And again, we had a great relationship with Air Conception. We did our very best to promote the motor. We did our very best to show you guys the good, the bad, the ugly, and we will continue to do the same thing with any brand we sell. And we'll continue to support you, our clients, because you're the reason why my kids get to eat, and that's really awesome. So thank you all very much for watching. I hope this video made some sense. We look forward to sharing more with you really soon, and I hope that as you all kind of get to understand why we've done what we've done, I hope that you will join us and fly with us and continue to be a part of our Aviator family. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
This motor has been a complete game changer.